This morning, I have the privilege of chatting about all that's happening on the education front as it pertains to developments in the community. This morning, I am sitting in studio and chatting with Technical Advisor to the Division of Education Research and Technology, Miss Ann-Natasha. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you, Shenell, and good morning to Tobago, Trinidad, the nation.
Right. And this morning we are having a number of conversations, but let's start off with what's happening in the community as it pertains to education and educational development. Now, recently, your division launched a project called Community Impact. Now, we are aware that you usually do the Impact program during the summer vacation for students. Right, and so now we're hearing that there's community impact. Can you tell us about the difference between those two projects?
Of course. So what everybody would be familiar with is Project Impact. So that was a response to the learning loss that was experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. We would have had 3 years of intervention based on the data and the research. So we looked at remedial students for the first 2 years, and last year we introduced one cohort of accelerated students. But what we would have noted from research gathered was that a number of parents within the communities could not support their students, their children, in terms of helping them with their home assignments and so on, because they lack that kind of education themselves. Apart from that, we have evidence that the underqualification in areas like CSEC mathematics and CSEC English means that people are not being able to fill vacancies that are critical in early childhood and in the technical vocational areas. So we have responded to this social problem by introducing community impact. So what community impact is an opportunity for persons who left school without completing their qualifications, some persons who never learned how to read and do not understand numeracy, etc., to have that opportunity. It's their time to come out and engage in teaching and learning processes. We're going to be looking at different groups of persons, those who need to learn how to read, to do numeracy, those who want to complete CSEC math and English. We have an elderly engagement section, and then we have other curriculum elements such as life skills, and we also look at computer literacy.
Right. And even as it pertains to the elderly, is it that you would be going into those facilities and homes and doing work with the elderly? Explain that one for me.
No, so everybody comes to the centers. We have 15 centers, one in every electoral district. So everyone will come to the center. So they will be facilitated. We have a small number of persons who at this time have applied to be part of that program. So they're going to be brought to the area, and they're going to engage in different kinds of healthy sorts of activities. So far, we've had 555 students applying for the program, which we hope to start on Monday, the 2nd of June.
This is community impact.
Community impact. And it's totally free to the population. And I just want to add one more statistic. 365 of those persons who applied are looking for math. While we have more than enough teachers, a surplus of teachers for every other area, English, literacy, numeracy, life skills, etc., we need more persons to apply for mathematics, to teach mathematics, because so many persons are reaching out to try to get that math. There is a fear of math, not just in Tobago and in Trinidad, but across the Caribbean, there's a fear of math, and we want to overcome that. It's part of the targeting for being the greatest little island on the planet.
Right. And there are a number of persons who are really excited for the opportunity to go to the community center and get free classes to be able to pursue CXC English or even math. Again, there are those persons who are not able to pay the cost that comes with going to private classes. So tell us about that thrust towards making education more accessible and affordable for the average citizen. It may be students who recently finished school and didn't get math, or persons who would have finished school a long time ago, did not even go to high school, that are now interested in getting some of these basic foundational subjects so that they can go on to pursue careers in different areas.
Right. So the centers that I'm referring to are actually schools. We just call them learning centers, right? And we have one in each district, as I said. So from Speyside Anglican all the way down to Mason Hall and all the way down to Bonaccord. So all of these schools are available on the website so that people will know how close they are. And if you don't want to go into the center that is closest to your home where you live because of fear or shame or anything like that, you can go to any center. You can register and you can travel to any center. It's a good point that you raise in terms of lack of access because of loss of funding or just the inability to motivate yourself to go out there and to do something that you haven't done for a long time. So the division is aware of that. It aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goals to have quality education across the board and with our Tobago's regional development goals. That goal is to have lifelong learning for all persons. So whether you're differently abled, you're physically completely abled, whether you dropped out of school in third form, in primary school, whether you never attended school, you never had the opportunity, this is your opportunity to come and have access free of charge to you to learning, to improvement. Math and English, if you just dropped out of school, you just finished school, you did not acquire those subject areas, just like you said, you're very welcome. What we are trying to ensure is that our tutors, apart from being competent in terms of the delivery of the subject, we want to ensure that our teachers have compassion and our teachers are understanding and receptive of the persons who are coming to them. Because we not only have persons like who you have just described, we also have people who have no basic skills for functioning. They're functionally literate. That means they cannot use an ATM machine without assistance. That means they cannot fill out a form. That means they don't understand the difference between a pack of milk or a pack of soap powder unless they smell it or they're familiar with the particular branding. So we want persons to have targets that are achievable for them. You know what it is you need. A number of persons do not have their ID cards. They live in a different kind of social framework from middle class society. And we want to improve everyone in Tobago so that you could really access all of the opportunities that are coming when we look at an autonomous type of society and an opportunity for greater autonomy. We want Tobagonians, all families, all communities to be able to access those opportunities and to make good on those choices. So everyone is invited to come, to encourage somebody. I know that everybody, as I'm speaking, thinks about somebody, some relative, some family member, some friend who has the need for classes like this.
Right. I also know persons within my community that would be more than happy to do so. And for those persons who may not be able to do the sign-up process on their own, can you register on someone's behalf? You can help them with the application online.
Of course, persons can be assisted and you can just walk into any of the sites on the day, the first day, or in fact the entire week and be registered there. You will get assistance.
And so tell us when this is starting.
We want to start on Monday, the 2nd, I believe, of June. We are operating from 5 to 8. There's going to be a timetable. We're going to post it. We're going to call each student who has applied individually and remind them of where they are supposed to go, what they've signed up to do, how they're going to do it. So 5 to 8, you will have your own timetable. Each group, depending on the cohort, would have their specific targets. So if you're looking at CSEC, math or English, you have your 13-week cycle, your 12-week cycle. You're going to move from point A to point B, ultimately to write the exam. If you're going there to be exposed to life skills like how to use an ATM or how to recognize the word milk, differentiated from the word soap powder, how to write your own name, how to fill out a form so that you can actually apply for different services, those targets are going to be set. So at the end of your 12 weeks, at the end of your 13 weeks, we're going to assess what you have been able to achieve. We have a center, like I said, a school in every single district. Some of our mega centers include Methodist, Cabo Methodist in town. It deals with a large area, so that persons can come from quite a few villages and be able to be comfortably hosted. Some of the schools will benefit from our presence as well, because some of the minor equipment that they would need, they don't get to achieve them, because when you do your scope of work, you tend to focus on emergency scopes alone. For instance, some of their toilets don't have doors, some of their cupboards in the classrooms don't have locks. So because of our presence there, we're going to be able to do these little minor activities so that the schools will benefit as well as we go along.
Right.
So I want to encourage everybody to participate in community impact.
Right. And although we are dealing with adults here, you know, we would think functional adults, how do you ensure that this space remains safe? And it's up to the standard that the principal wants when you have school happening in the night and then school in the morning. How do you ensure that, you know, that type of cleaning takes place just as there are cleaners after school, to ensure that when students come in the morning, the classroom is in tip-top shape and ready for progressive learning the next day?
Right, so that's an excellent question. We've actually engaged a secretariat of young persons who are going to be helping us to do the coordination and the management of the sites. Some of the employees will be janitors. They will help us to keep the place clean and so on. We're going to work very closely with the principals of each school to ensure that, you know, both the persons who are coming to be taught and the students who are coming the next day will have a nice, safe, clean environment, and all can coexist. It will ensure that we extend school somewhat and that we allow the adults to have the kind of education they need to help the students. So both sets of persons should be improving academically and with any kind of life skill that they may need.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more on this conversation right after this. See you soon. Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Shenell Felix, and this morning I continue my conversation that I have been chatting with a technical advisor for the Division of Education, Research and Technology. We're talking to Miss Second this morning, and we're talking about community impact. Now, as indicated previously, there was Project Impact that was focused towards some of the remedial students going into high school, and now there's Community Impact focused on offering free educational classes in math, English, life skills, and some other things that will be happening at the community levels, but the centers are at the schools within each district. So you will have to find out along with your registration exactly where you are being placed. You have some centers like the Bonaccord Government School, the Buku Government School, Montgomery, and what are some of the other centers?
Right, so we do have...
You indicated Methodist for the Scarborough area.
We have Wim Anglican as well, Bishop's High School. We mentioned Mason Hall Secondary, Speyside Anglican, I believe Roxborough Anglican is also one. It's about 15 of them.
Right. But you're also doing that senior engagement program. Tell us a little bit about that one. What does that look like?
Right, so seniors could range in terms of their ability to do things, very wide-ranging. So we want them to not be isolated. We want them to be engaged and to participate so that they have a nice, healthy period of retirement and they can contribute and they can participate. So there might be some physical activity, there might be some art and craft, karaoke, fun stuff.
Right, love that.
Yes.
Love that. Maybe aerobics.
Yes.
Whatever they are able to do. just to come out and be social and,
Yes.
keep the brain working. So you are also offering computer literacy and numeracy. So that means that for the persons who are not yet at the stage where they can go to a class to do CXC math or English, and they are at the base level, meaning learning to
Yes.
read, there are classes available for them as well. But we can't talk about learning without talking about teaching
Yes.
and the role of teachers in this overall program and the project itself. What are some of the opportunities that are available for educators in this project, Community Impact?
Yes. So just like with Project Impact, every time I come on the program, I try to emphasize how much people love teaching in different kinds of environments. You can forget some of that love in a system where there's a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of systemic problems. So opportunities like this that have less rigidity in terms of their monitoring and evaluation, in terms of you, the teacher, in less punitive, you are able to relax and enjoy the process of teaching and learning differently. You go back to when you were a student at college and you get to implement all sorts of constructivist approaches to teaching and learning, and you have fun. A number of the teachers enjoy the business of teaching, and a number of the students enjoy that kind of learning. So the opportunity is there for teachers to not only earn additional funding to do whatever they need to do, because it's a situation where everybody receives a good solid stipend, it also re-emphasizes that joy of learning and helps to motivate them to continue, because there are a few teachers who do feel stifled in any education system, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but across the globe. These opportunities help you to kind of reconnect with that love. And you're also able to help your entire community by assisting persons who never had the chance to learn the way we did and who do not have the skills that we have. You get a chance to help them up.
Right, and persons often say, teachers are not compensated well enough. And there must be opportunities for teachers to be able to extend their portfolio while also being able to make a little bit more.
Of course.
So is this project specific to persons who are already trained teachers, or someone who probably got a distinction in English and was like, I'm good at CXC, I could teach that. So who are you targeting as it pertains to the facilitators?
You have different levels. So you need trained teachers for literacy, for numeracy, and for CSEC math and for CSEC English. You can have for your life skills if you're going to do some hairstyling or event management and so on. You can have persons who they're versed in their field. They don't even have the actual qualifications in terms of certification, because we have a number of really skilled persons in Trinidad and Tobago who do not have certification, but they have a very successful business and a strong clientele. So those kinds of persons can come in, teach you how to do a basic garment manufacturing, or something to do with your hair, something to do with your face and your finances, how to manage your finances, even how to consume a balanced diet, prepare and consume a balanced diet, and to change your lifestyle so that you live a little healthier. So different levels will be employed for the teaching to help you to move from a space where you do not recognize your name to a place where you do. A specialist is needed. So persons trained and skilled in literacy will be engaged to do that.
Okay, and even as it pertains to some of the parents not being able to have the ability to provide supervision for their kids while they are at the centers, is there any area specific to allowing children to be there while parents are in learning?
Well, we do have a secretariat, as I said. A secretariat means that we have persons who are engaged by the division who will be looking at the administrative management of the program, and there will be opportunities for persons Not all the picnic them, but for persons to bring one or two sometimes, and they will be well supervised.
Okay, understood. Because that is the time when parents come home from work, and usually daycare is closed at that
Yes.
time. So, some persons might say a barrier to entry may be I don't have anyone to look after the kids while I
Yes.
am there. So just to put in that consideration for those persons so that no one
They
gets
can
left
bring the
behind.
children with them.
Right, excellent. And what are you hoping to achieve with this project?
What we want is quality education for everyone. We want to be able to really realize the dream of being the greatest little island on the planet. Everybody needs to be able to fit in properly. Everybody needs to be able not only to recognize opportunity, but to access it and to be able to move from one stage to the next, to set aside all of the excuses of the past and to properly participate in your own development and your own self-actualization. And it's important for persons to begin to dream of moving from one stage to the next. The packages are very small, 12 to 13 weeks. It's time to invest in your own self. You may have given all of your time and all of your effort based on the circumstances of your life to your own children or to other members of your family and so on. Now is your time. This is an opportunity for you. You can start off with one cycle and then you can continue with another cycle. If you didn't complete the first cycle properly, you can repeat that cycle. This program, in its first initiation, will look at 2 years, right? So over the next 2 years, we're willing to invest. In fact, we understand the importance of investing in our human capital formation and development. Tobago, for us to be able to realize both autonomy and everything that comes with being the greatest island on the planet, we must upskill. And those who can must extend their hand to pull up those who at this point in time cannot.
Right. And would the tutors be willing, and is it a part of their portfolio to usher persons into that exam by means of helping them to register for the exams and stuff like that?
So the teachers, in collaboration with the secretariat, see, I keep coming back to that. We're engaging these young persons and they're understanding the whole system of taking persons from one point to the next. So we're going to see you through all the way to the end point.
Right. Would the secretariat be responsible for following up with possible dropouts
Of course.
during the program? So, for instance, if a person has not attended classes for twice during the 12 weeks, how are you going about that to ensure that, because you may end up starting off with 100%
Of course.
and then you boil down to like 20.
Yes.
How do you ensure that you maintain that momentum and get persons to stick to it?
Building the relationships, maintaining the connections, and sticking to it at the level of the secretariat. They have been fully trained. They have all of the files and the filing system set up. So they're going to be monitoring and they're going to be contacting everyone, encouraging everyone. We're going to be macroing your scene to the point where we can help you to move from point A to point B to point C.
So that
So it's
might
a
look like
family
calling
approach.
someone and saying, well, Mr. George, we didn't see you last week.
Yes.
Is everything all right? Is there anything that we can assist you
Yes.
with? What type of issues are you facing? Would there be a requirement for persons to submit their absence beforehand if they are unable to make a class or two, that they have to notify the teacher? And are there a specific amount of absenteeism that will cause a person to be withdrawn from the ability to, let's say, do the exam? So although you may be able to join the cohort again next year, if you miss, let's say, 4 classes out of 12, you would automatically be removed from the examination list. Are you looking at policies like that to ensure that persons stay committed? Because we know there's the idea that people do not value things that are free. So how do you get persons to see the value and stick with the project?
We have to help them, and that is why we have an extensive orientation period. The entire first week will have, apart from teaching content, orientation, because people have to understand the benefit to them. If you do not break that code and help them to understand how they benefit, they're just going to see it as something free and something that they can participate in or not participate in. You have to show them how it will change their lives, their children's lives, their families' lives, and their opportunities. I remember having a student way back when I was a teacher at Bishop's, and he was brilliant. He would have, by the time he got to Form 5, wanted to leave school to help to support the other children in the household. And what we would have done, a core of us, sat with him and explained to him how much more he could earn just by having CAPE rather than just CSEC. And we worked with him because he couldn't come to school every day. He couldn't make all of the man hours and the day hours to be in school. We worked with him and he completed his CAPE. Big struggle, but he completed his CAPE. And several years later, we saw him, as a Coast Guard and so on. And you know that you participated in helping him to complete. Some people need that help to complete. And so that's what we are about right now. Everybody has to take it seriously. Everybody has to recognize that changes are happening all around us in Trinidad and in Tobago. And in order for us to all be able to access, we want to improve ourselves. Because systemic changes may happen that make you poorer than you are now.
Correct. And again, you want to reiterate that there's no age limit.
No
attached
age
to
limit.
this project.
Come at 90, come at 102, come with 2 hands, come with 1 hand.
Even if
come
you
in a
did
wheelchair.
CXC last year and
If you did
failed.
CXC last year, if you did CXC math 19 times, this is the 20th time and we're asking you to come and do it with us. Come.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back as we continue with much more conversation on all that's happening. See you soon. Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, I continue my conversation as we chat all about community impact. That's the opportunity for adults to go to free classes at the different educational centers within each district. This morning I've been chatting with the technical advisor for the Division of Education, Research and Technology, and we have been talking about all that's happening on this front. So we are preparing persons, adults, to do CXC, and these classes are absolutely free. But outside of that, for persons who are not yet at the level where they can go to classes for CXC, math and English, there are numeracy and literacy classes available, so that if you want to start at the base level.
Yes.
And the ABC, sounding of letters, reading, writing, being able to fill forms,
Yes.
differentiate products at the grocery store, that is also being done. But the community has to get involved, not just in the capacity of working at the centers, but doing their job to make others aware of what is happening. So even as you are hearing this now, you have a duty to ensure that someone else knows that this is happening.
Yes.
And so I'm going to ask my producer if he can put up the photo of the form so that you can use your cell phone at this moment to scan the QR code and register, or simply send a photo of the flyer to someone else. This is the community impact, and so when they find that flyer, they will put it up. But when it comes to some of the things that are still needed to get the project up and running, how can the community get involved in other ways? There might be someone who says, well, I have a little cart, I don't mind coming out and selling some water and juice for the persons who are at the compound between 5 to 8, because at that time, obviously, the cafeterias are closed. What type of assistance is still needed? What type of engagement is still needed to not only have that economic activity happening in the community, but to have everyone engaged?
So the division would be very grateful to partner with corporate sponsors to assist us with those minor repairs that are needed. For instance, like I mentioned earlier, the locks on the cupboards for the teachers, the doors in the bathrooms in some of the schools, etc. So corporate sponsors can always come on board to help us with some of the minor equipment. The thing that we want to do is ensure that a sort of catalyst is generated. We want persons across all different sectors, whether you're in the churches, different NGOs, different schools, etc., different groups. We want everybody to take literacy and numeracy and improvement, academic improvement seriously and incorporate it in some way in whatever programs you're doing, whether it is Sunday school, Sabbath school, whatever have you. Do not take it for granted that the people that you are treating with know what you're saying in terms of are able to read it. Don't assume that your prompter goes up in church and everybody knows the words there to sing. Yeah. So if you have little Sunday school, little Sabbath school, etc., incorporate. There is a teacher somewhere there. There's a retired teacher somewhere there. Incorporate some teaching and some learning.
Right. And you said that there currently is a huge demand for mathematics and for persons coming to the math class. So you are currently overwhelmed, almost full to capacity. So you are looking for more tutors who are qualified to teach English for the CXC level.
Yes. So I am appealing to those of you who love teaching math. There are a number of you. For you, math is fun, math is engaging, math is exciting. We want you to come and participate in this program, so register now. You are the person who will assist persons to appreciate math more, to make the concepts more realistic, etc. We need more math teachers. We have over 300 persons applying to do math, so there's a great need. In our THA, or workforce, we have about 12% of the actual adult workforce who have only completed primary school education. We have 60% who have only completed secondary level education, and 28% of the adult workforce in the Tobago House of Assembly have post-secondary education. So there's a need for us to improve, upskill, so that different persons can have opportunities for promotions, they can fill vacancies, etc. So we need math. We have quite sufficient for the first cycle in all of the other fields, but we need more math teachers to enroll today.
Excellent. And even as it pertains to that transition, when persons are successful at the examination level and they're now optimistic about moving on to, greater pursuits, would the Secretariat be able to guide them, to show them, hey, these are the other programs that you are now qualified to move into, whether it be a certificate, an associate, or, a diploma, to ensure that learning is continuous and that relationship, as you said, with the members, is ongoing. So you have that, post-exam consultation and follow up with them to see where they are and how they're going.
Yes, definitely. And Shenell, nothing succeeds like success. So if you are able to overcome one milestone, there's a lot of opportunities that you will now be able to see, now be able to understand that you can do, so that you can move on to some course in the Tobago Hospitality School, THDI, or you could go and do something else in Tittle 211. You can do something at YTEP, you can do something else. Something that is linked to it, something that you did not have the capacity to do before. And so the Secretariat will help you with that coherence and that synergy, so that we move from one step to the next.
How important is it for persons to not only join, but join and stick to it and see it to the end and ensure that the, limited resources that the THA has that is being put towards initiatives like this will not be wasted?
Well, plenty wastage takes place with all kinds of things. So we can't focus on the potential of some people to drop out. We have to encourage people to see the importance of it. It is critical for you to understand that this is an opportunity for you. This is an opportunity for you to improve and for you to develop. A lot of it has to do with a sense of self-esteem, feeling that they cannot do it, and 100 excuses come to mind when you actually start. So you have to take it with baby steps. People have to encourage them. Good teachers are good life coaches.
Right. And if I could just put my recommendation in,
Yes.
I know when it comes to teaching and motivation, even as a student, students look forward to things outside of just the curriculum from time to time. So, things that help to build camaraderie among the students in the
Yes.
class, whether it be they plan an outing on a Saturday. These are the things that help persons to look forward
Of course.
to continuing to be a part of the program. So outside of coming to class every evening, 5 to 8, you look forward to these new connections, new relationships, and doing things outside of just being in class. And, maybe every now and then at the 4-week mark, you might have somebody come in and do a motivational speech, or someone come in and share their testimony about how they started off later on in life and they have still succeeded, giving persons that intrinsic motivation to continue to persevere and push through. Because I don't think it's just persons who didn't have CXC or didn't do well in math or English that have difficulty with commitment, sticking to things, and procrastination, organization, making the time to study. Even us at our big age, we sometimes need a little nudge. So, I would just like to recommend that, a little attention is paid on the mental health and helping, with study skills and time management and all these things that would help person to join and stay a part of the program and value it, not just because it's free means that you won't value it. But even as we are forced to wrap up the discussion this morning, we want to encourage all Tobagonians, whether you need it or not, to take a photo, screenshot this flyer and post it on your WhatsApp status, your Facebook status, share. Go to the Division of Education, Research and Technology's Facebook page, and from there you can also share it. This is our opportunity to ensure that no one gets left behind as it pertains to education and educational development on the island of Tobago. We are talking about quality education for all, as Sustainable Development Force says. And this is the THA. Well, I have to say kudos to you, technical advisor, and your team for coming up with an initiative like this one. We are always happy to see the development happening. Is there anything you want to say to Tobago before we end off this morning?
So what I want to say is, this is your opportunity. This is your time. Set aside that time. Determine if you're going to go outside of your community. You will need a little $6 to get there. Determine who you're going to tell and who you're not going to tell. You don't need to tell everybody. Invest in your improvement, because this opportunity is specifically for you. In order for you to fulfill that dream of becoming that early childhood educator, becoming that fast food restaurant owner, whatever, in order for you to achieve those things, you can start right here with us with Community Impact. You're welcome, and once you show up, we're going to walk with you all the way to the very end.
Right. And again, I would like you guys to post the flyer one more time for those persons who want to get the time. So this is actually, there's no start time here, but it's starting in June.
June the 2nd. So that's next week, Monday.
So that's next Monday from 5 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
And there's a number that's there. 2990781. That's the Division of Education, Research and Technology. But there's an extension 3003. If not, you just call and ask them to be transferred to
Community Impact Secretariat.
The Community Impact
Anybody dealing with Community Impact.
And they would allow you to register, and they would also tell you what center you will be studying at. So please inquire, do your due diligence. My granny used to say you have to seek your own interest.
You have to.
Right?
See about yourself. Is that see about yourself time?
Seek your own interest this morning, or the interest of your child. If your child did CXC within the last 5 years and you are not happy with the result that they brought home, this is your opportunity, free of charge, to ensure that they continue with their learning. So guys, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing to ensure that Tobago Updates is the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Shenell Felix, and have a great day.